My good people of the Lo-Fi Hip-Hop community, welcome to another episode of Lo-Fi Lowdown. My name is Will, aka Sydney Hollow, aka Ada, aka Mr. Make It Fit. I'm here to go over a couple songs and break them down with you, but first I have a couple thank yous to throw out there. First and foremost, the last video that I put up went over 100 views, beyond any expectation I ever had at all for this series. I just expected the people that I would record, or the people that I'd break down for, I only expected them to check it out. So seriously, thank you. All of that goes to our Lo-Fi Hip-Hop. Thank you guys for checking this shit out so much. Number two, I wanted to say thank you to everyone that's been providing me feedback on how to improve these videos and make them better for you guys. That really goes a long way, and I'm seriously considering everything that you guys say. So thank you for that. And if you have more feedback, anyone that's watching this, I highly encourage you to please put it into the comments or email me or whatever. We'll make it happen. Let's get right into it. I don't want to make the video overly long. So we have 3 songs today. One from an artist called Power, another one called Do I Have To, which is the artist name. And then the last one is our three-peat offender, Miss Antidote. Let's get right into it with Heartbreak by Power. Alright. Okay, so I've listened to this song several fucking times now, just like with all of them, and I got some feedback. Obviously, I mean, that's why you're here, right? So, first I want to say the main melody that you use is fucking awesome, okay? I love the atmosphere that you built with it through the effects, like the reverb and kind of all these whooshing sounds. What it makes me feel like is that I'm floating. And I pondered the other day about in which way does it make me feel like I'm floating. couple things I went over was like, do I feel like I'm having an out-of-body experience? The answer is no. Do I feel like I'm flying like in a dream? The answer is no. I feel like I took some really good drugs at a party and I am just floating through everything that's going on around me. And then you have this slow down part, and that's like someone shakes me out of my daze, and I like come to and I'm just like, what the fuck? And then I'm just like, oh yeah, I don't have to give a shit. And that's when the music comes back in. And speaking of that part, initially I didn't like the slowdown, but I ended up really liking it as soon as I heard the music come back in, because it was like a key change. You pitched it differently and it sounded so cool. I thought that was a very clever way to bring the music back in and make it different. Really appreciated that. Now the thing that I would seriously work on the most is the drums, okay? I feel like with a song where the melody is, your melody is the focus of this song, okay? And it is a very good melody. So you want that to be the forefront. Your drums can absolutely be repetitive, and it's a very lo-fi hip-hop thing to do, and they can do that. A lot of the times that doesn't work, but it'll work. It'll work on this one. However, you need to give your drums some more love, and what I mean by that is each one has its own individual problem within the mix. So I'll start with the hi-hats. Your hi-hats are stale as fuck. They're just... It's not so much the pattern of ch, 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 that's fine. It sounds like you mess with the dynamics a little bit, maybe having one hit harder than the other one, but it's still just not there. They just sound stale. You don't need to do any fancy kind of trap hi-hats or nothing like that. I would just mess around with them in the mix. Maybe cut their high end a little bit, bring it more towards the mid. I don't know, just like kind of fuck with it and see what you can do with that. Definitely make sure that the dynamics are on point in it. You know, you're gonna want the different hits to have different velocities and all of that, so be conscious of that. The next thing is that your snare is very flat. I really suggest throwing some reverb on that snare to kind of help it mesh more with the airy, floaty, vibey sample that you have going. So try some reverb, see what you can do. It's a nice sounding snare. The actual sound of it is okay, or is good, but the way that it sits in the mix just sounds very flat. Alright. The last one is your kick drum or your bass drum is weird. I don't know how to describe it other than weird. I really like the pattern that you have on it. In fact, there's this part about 1 minute and 30 seconds in where it just slows on like and that part sounded really fucking cool. I like that a lot. But I would fuck around with the EQ and compression on your kick. Okay, another idea, I don't know if you did it or not, another idea I would do is try some side chain and compression with it, because it'll really bring your bass out more. Side chain it to your main sample. It'll bring the bass out more. It'll sound good. If you do know what side chaining is, that's great. If you don't know what side chaining is, I will put a link in the comments to another video where I learned about side chaining from. The person doesn't know I'm linking, the person doesn't know who I am, nothing. I'm promoting that video simply because I really liked that video and it was very helpful to me, so I'll put that in there. Yeah, I think that's about it for yours. There is a part in that transition where it slows down and then the pitched differently sample comes back. There's a little kind of glitchy in that, so be a little mindful for that. See what you can do. Alright. The next song that we're going to do is called Summer Night by Do I Have To? And the answer, by the way, is yes. You absolutely do have to. I don't even know why you're asking that. Another kind of airy, vibey, floaty song. I like it. Definitely kind of gives me that summer vibe, so good job hitting that mark. First thing, I'm going to start off by asking you a question. Why did you use those vocal samples? That's not a challenge. That's not like, why'd you do that? Nothing like that. I'm just genuinely curious as to why you chose that one, why you put vocal samples in there in the first place. General question. And the reason that I ask that is because anyone that's watched these videos before would know that I am always skeptical about dialogue samples, especially anime dialogue samples. I don't know if those were anime, it sounded possibly anime, because it's just become so common in the, I was going to say inundated. Does anyone know what inundated is? In my mind I was like, it's become so inundated in the lo-fi community. I don't know if I'm using that correctly. If you know what inundated is, please leave the definition in the comments. But lo-fi hip-hop has become so saturated with dialogue samples, and it's not necessary. It needs to add something to your track in a very purposeful way too. I'm very steadfast in that belief. And personally, when I listen to this track, I don't know what the dialogue samples were used for. Okay, so please answer that question. I'm just wondering why. Next thing is that the bass comes through, like your kick drum comes through on my studio headphones, but I listened to that song on this speaker, I listened to it on some computer speakers, and the bass does not come through at all. So for that, I would suggest when you're editing your song, I would suggest using different speakers, different headphones to kind of see how it sounds in each and just tweak it and try to find your middle ground. Next, correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like your main sample is sidechained to your kick, and that's fucking tight. I like the slow release on it, the fast attack on it, and slow release, or quick release, so it's like, man, I don't fucking know, slow release, quick release, what the fuck. It is a fast attack though, so it turns down quickly and then comes back out, and it kind of it gives it this pulsating, almost breathing like vibe, which is probably why I feel like it sounds so airy, especially with the reverb and all of that. So Power, the last producer, if you're still listening, that was a good use of sidechaining. If, of course, it was sidechaining, I believe it was. Okay, next. At some point in the song, these kind of horns come in. I really want you to tread lightly with those horns because they came in kind of blaring. While everything else was just laid back, these horns came in with some high anxiety, like fucking wound up shit, you know? So ease up on those horns a little bit. Let them fucking kind of come in a little bit, you know? You can turn them down. If you want them to still come in the way they came in, you can turn it down a little bit. Or throw some reverb on them or something, but they were kind of gave me anxiety listening to it. The biggest thing that I would probably work on this song is the drums. The drums are also the thing that I have the most trouble with. I have the most trouble with drums, and I have the most trouble with finding samples to use if I'm not making it myself. Now, what I would work on with your drums is that I feel like they are too repetitive and too programmed sounding. And where that kind of comes from is that hip-hop is built on drum breaks from, 1970s disco and shit. Excuse me, guys. And so when you have this programmed sound where it's like, just like robotic, mechanical, programmed, it's on point, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't hold true to that. For me, it doesn't hold true to that original hip-hop is built on the breaks, so it's gotta be, which a lot of these breaks came from disco music, so it kind of had this groove to it, it had a swing, and I feel like your drums weren't groovy enough. They're like, whoa bro, groovy. They weren't groovy enough, and they weren't fitting in that fucking pocket of the song to like make the song flow. The song just kind of goes, you know what I'm saying? And your samples, your main melody, is definitely deserving of a groovy fucking drum track. So if you want an example of some like programmed drums that are still groovy, Check out After Hanabi by Nujabes. I will add it into the comments as well. Check that shit out because that has a very groovy drum pattern along with its fucking amazing sample. Okay, it's one of the best songs ever. Two more things. Around 1:40, the song kind of like, you had this break in the song where the piano comes in and it's just really chill. Fucking absolutely adored that part, and it just goes and fades out to the end. I love it. The last thing is that your melody isn't very classic sounding, so I'm not entirely sure why you put on so much vinyl pop and crack to it. Vinyl pop and crack. Why you put so much of that vinyl sound on it. I know that's also very, very common in the lo-fi hip-hop subgenre, but I would be wary of when and why you are using it. Make sure that it's serving a purpose. You know, I'm not getting an old-timey vibe from your melody, so don't try to tell me that it's old-timey by putting the vinyl crack on it. Vinyl crack just sounds weird. You know, that sounds like my vinyl's getting high. I don't know. Think about it. Alright, next and last, we have Miss Antidote. Like I said, she has submitted 2 times before. I swear to God, I'm going to bar you from at least the next 2 videos because although your music is amazing, we need to give some other people a shot. Alright, the song is good. I'm excited for you guys to listen to it though.
Good evening.
Mind if I join you?
Well, no, not at all. Won't you sit down? I think I found the antidote.
Are you afraid?
No.
Advertise for adventure.
And I certainly found what I wanted.
I want to talk to you.
I know that feeling. I want to talk to you.
I can explain everything. You willing to try anything?
Well, that depends. What's on your mind?
I can't discuss it over the phone. Will you meet me?
I had everything I really wanted. All I had to do was reach out my hand. Let's take our chances on that. It's a long way down. A long, long way down.
She was wearing black lounging pajamas tied tight around the slim waist. She looked like a wasp with a nice sting.
Why don't you have dinner at my place, just you and me? You'll like my place. I have a fine collection of modern art, especially Picasso.
You're inviting me to come up and see your Picasso?
My dear, when one as charming as you comes to my place, it's not to see the Picassos, but the handwriting on the wall.
What are you doing with my wife?
This is almost the work of a maniac.
Alright, Mr. Antidote, thank you again for sending that shit. Okay. First and foremost, I think that the interplay of melodies that you have of the different instruments is just awesome. I think it's a really good start. You should continue to focus on that in the future. Because for the first time in my short career of reviewing songs, it's for the first time I heard something where I have several different instruments having a conversation with each other, and that conversation is pleasant. And that's what I mean by interplay, where you have a guitar playing one thing and it's responded to with a synth, or responded to with some chimes or some shit like that. And I thought you did a really good job with that. I mean, of course it could use some work and it could use some more intricacy, but that's why I want you to focus a lot on that in the future, because I think you have a really good, strong starting point for that. Again, the vocal samples that you use to make the melody are fucking awesome, and what I've noticed from listening to your other two tracks is that you tend to use those vocal samples similar to that a lot, and I just love it. One of my favorite things that you do with your music is the dialogue samples that you use. Now everybody listen up, because Miss Antidote uses dialogue samples a lot, but they always play a very specific purpose and role in her music. Like these ones told the story, and that is a great way to use dialogue samples and to make it purposeful and make it conscious and make it mean something within the track. So really good job with your dialogue samples. Also, I want to know where you get them from. Like, how do you find all this shit? Do you just watch a lot of old movies? How do you find exactly what you're looking for? It fucking blows my mind. The thing that I would work on the most in this song is your bass. At first I thought that it sounded kind of stale, but that wasn't the right term to use. I used that for Power's snare, and that snare is stale sounding. Your bass doesn't sound stale because it fits within the mix and shit, but what I realized, and I don't mean your kick drum, I mean the actual bass that you're using, and what I realized is that I don't think you are very confident in your bass in that specific track. So I think you should really go back to the bass, revisit it, and just fuck around, try to do something better. Not saying that it's bad, I just think that you can do better because I feel apprehension in your bass. Something that I notice is that your bass is really following the kick drum. Try to topsy-turvy that shit. Have your kick drum follow your bass. That sounds simple. I don't think it's going to be as simple when you really think about how to break that shit down and make that change. But something to think about. So, Miss Antidote, thank you very much for sending me another fucking wonderful track. And everyone, Power and Do I Have To, thank you guys for sending me tracks. It's fucking awesome. By the way, I got 9 submissions in this last email round. That's fucking wild. I did not expect it. The one before this, for video 2, I only got 3. Okay, so that's huge. So that means I've got enough songs for this video and the next 2 videos. But that doesn't mean don't send them to me. Keep them coming. I like the fact that I have these options. In the next video, there is one song I'm really, really excited for you guys to hear. So yeah, make sure you stay tuned for that. Again, I'm going to, for everyone to see, and feel free to find and listen to, I'm going to add 2 links into the comment section. One is for this new Jabez song. It's one of my favorite songs of all time. He uses amazing samples in it. He uses amazing fucking drum lines in it. So check that shit out. The other one is a really good how-to video for lo-fi hip-hop. Specifically, there's a part in it where he talks about sidechain compression, and it's fucking awesome. It stepped up my game to the next level, so I hope it'll help you guys as well. thank you very much, and I can't wait till you guys see this video. I can't wait till you guys see the next video. Keep the feedback coming. Keep the love coming. The reception has been seriously amazing, and I'm very humbled and thankful to you. So, peace out, guys. Thank you.